Julie Golob, are you there?
I am. How are you guys doing?
Fantastic. How are you?
Very good, thanks.
So for those who don't know you, I just wanted to read some of the talk a little bit about your background. You were the U.S. Army Athlete of the Year. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What did you do for the Army?
I was a competitive shooter, so got my teeth cut in the shooting sports and joined the Army right out of high school and got to chase my dreams and national titles. So it worked out pretty well.
Wow. What was what were you competing? What discipline?
Practical shooting primarily, and also a little bit of speed shooting here and there.
Very cool. And you have over 50 world and national titles as a competitive shooter. You're the only only 7-division USPSA Ladies National Champion. Congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you.
And it says here that you're a wife, a mom, a veteran, an author, and a host. And on your website, you have a lot of really cool things on your website. You have videos and articles. You've written a book. You wrote a book specifically for parents with kids, parents who are gun owners with kids, called Toys, Tools, Guns, and Rules. And what was what were you looking to accomplish with the book?
Well, I'm a mom, and when you become a parent, I think your eyes open up to the world of different ways that you can educate your children. And so for me, I was looking for a resource for my girls that kind of went beyond just the universal message of avoidance that we all teach our kids when it comes to firearms at a young age, and give them a little bit more information to kind of, temper that curiosity a bit and really help them learn about firearms in a responsible way.
And you do all kinds of articles, all kinds of resources. Your website's very, very cool, by the way. It's Julie Golob.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, you bet. It's Juliegolob.com, juliegolob.com. You have an little article. This actually comes up a lot. I'm glad I saw it. I wanted to ask you about it. But it looks like you have an article there called Shooting While Pregnant.
Yeah.
That actually comes up a lot. We do a lot in San Diego, we do a lot of educational shooting socials, where we take people who've never shot before and we pair them with somebody who's experienced, and it's not instructional. It's not a substitute for a class. It's just a first time shooting experience, just to kind of take the, the mystery out of it and kind of, your big toe in the deep end. And, pregnancy comes up a lot. A lot of pregnant women decide they want to go shoot a gun for the first time. I don't know what that's all about, but, and I honestly don't know what to tell them. So is there a rule of thumb, or what can you do?
It all comes down to communication, really. You need to talk to your doctor to figure out if you have any risks involved. You need to talk to your partner to make sure that you're on the same page. And then you also need to be aware of the potential issues involved. Contaminants, lead, noise, that sort of thing. And then after you kind of put all that together, you can make the best decision for you. There's really no set guideline. I mean, I've known moms that have raised world champions that have been running around competing until they were basically 9 months. And then there are other moms that, as soon as they became pregnant, they were, nope, no risks, no nothing. I'm not even eating runny eggs. No. So it all comes down to what you're personally comfortable with. But the ebook and the articles, they kind of guide you through the issues that you should look into and the questions that you should be asking, both of your doctor and for your partner.
Interesting. Yeah, I never know what to tell them. I always say, I think you got a little baby there, so probably better safe than sorry. But it's completely your decision, and it's up to you. It's my understanding there's never been a definitive study or anything that's shown that shooting while pregnant, that there's any kind of harm or anything that could come. Nothing like that, right?
It's funny because, it's not exactly a very studied demographic, women who shoot. And so, no, there isn't a lot of information. We do have resources specifically with law enforcement guidelines in the military, what they do when they have service members or members of law enforcement that, don't shoot while they're pregnant, because obviously that could be a bad thing for a department or, a unit. But after that, the big thing is being smart about who's going to be cleaning your gun. Example, let your husband or partner or whoever's going to do that. You don't need to be, sitting there with a gun cleaner and doing all of the the dirty work, that sort of thing. So you get a little bit of buy on the gun cleaning business. But, just being smart about it. I generally recommend that most women don't shoot indoors, especially when they're pregnant, because there's just that increased level of inhalation concerns with, being indoors.
Interesting. Well, I'm glad I saw that. I'm glad that you addressed that too. Really appreciative. So as a wife, as a mom, as an author, as a host, you're a competitive show. What's a typical day or what's a typical week look like for you?
Oh, I have no typical anything. It all changes. A lot of the year is based around the competition season, obviously different with COVID. But I'll plan out my year and the major tournaments I want to compete in, create a training schedule. And then I work with a variety of companies. So I'm, on call with them to do product reviews and promotions, that sort of thing, or R&D. And then after that, I enjoy a hunting season every now and again when I get a chance. And first and foremost, I'm a mom, so it's a lot of balancing and juggling. So I have to be on my toes, but I wouldn't change anything. It's awesome.
So you got to travel all over the U.S. to go to different competitions?
Yeah, I've been all over the U.S. and I've even shot on 6 continents, so it's pretty cool.
Oh, wow. Wow. All right, how do we get you to Antarctica?
I know. I hear you can shoot a flare gun there, right? I'm not picky. If it's got a trigger, I'll pull it.
So that's amazing. All right. So how does it, I don't know, you don't have to get too down into the weeds about it, but basically sponsors, they say, okay, great. Here, promote our product. And then that enables you to practice and to travel and to compete. Is that basically the gist of it? They want you to, they say, hey, here's our product. If you like it, great. We'll enable you to do all the things you need to do in order to compete. Is that generally how it works?
Kind of. Most of the relationships that I have been, in place for decades. So even pre-social media era. And back in the day, it would be more newspaper articles and radio shows like yours, that sort of thing for exposure. But nowadays, there's definitely an opportunity for somebody to try out a product. And if it goes well, affiliate programs and that sort of thing. But it's definitely something that puts me in I'm very grateful for the position that I'm in because it does allow me to travel. It does allow me to be able to shoot as much as I need to, get as many rounds downrange as I need to in order to be at the top of my game.
So how much do you need to shoot in order to be at the top of your game?
Oh, you're talking tens of thousands of rounds.
Holy cow.
Light years are 25,000, heavy years. While I was in the military, I shot 100,000 rounds in a year.
Wow. And that's what, across disciplines, or what do you mostly concentrate
Nope.
on?
That was all primarily the handgun.
Wow.
In the sport that I was focusing on at the time. There are so many talented shooters out there, and now more than ever, we're seeing so many young competitors. Juniors are really the ones that are pushing the envelope, whereas I view myself as a little bit of an old timer, being a mom now and being around the sport for a long time. But there's so much talent out there, and it's really exciting.
So I don't even know, honestly, if I decided, hey, I'm going to shoot 100,000 rounds, in a practice scenario. I mean, I don't mean just, burning a magazine, but if I were going to shoot 100,000 rounds in the year 2021, I said, Joe, Dave, I'm going to practice and I'm going to, shoot 100,000 rounds the next year. I'm not even sure, what I would do. Like, how do you know what to practice?
So it's funny. A lot of it comes down to fundamentals. So even though in practical shooting, the sport in general is a lot of running and gunning, shooting through windows and doorways, and you never really compete in the same stage twice. But at the same time, you have to be able to know how fast you can shoot on a target from anywhere from 3 yards out to 75 yards. So you're using a lot of basic fundamental training and those skills like drawing, reloading, magazine changes, shooting on the move, being able to get into positions, out of positions quickly. And so you just break down those skills, train those, and then when you go to competitions, whether they're local or regional, nationals, you name it, that's when you kind of put it all together and test it.
Wow. What's the biggest mistake people make?
I think it's, oftentimes because, these are speedier shooting sports, they often go too fast. You very rarely can miss fast enough to win.
Wow. Is there something the average shooters, or something that by being a competitive shooter, you've figured out that the average shooter just, messes up frequently? Is there some kind of rookie mistake that gun owners, make over and over and over again?
Well, I don't know as if it's a mistake, but I will say this, that when you are active in a shooting sport, no matter what that shooting sport is, you are constantly handling a firearm in a competitive, scenario. You just gain this kind of confidence, and you don't have to think twice about where the magazine release button is or how to unload or load. And it all just becomes a natural thing, and you get better and better at it. So it translates over to even concealed carry life for me. I don't have to worry about, can I reload my concealed carry gun, because I've done it so many times with my competition pistols. And that kind of translation and that confidence in gun handling skills is really, really valuable.
That's awesome. So I want to, in the next segment, I really want to talk about what you're up to, some things that you're promoting, some things that you're doing. But stay with us. We're going to just go to the break real quick, pay some bills, and we're going to be back with Julie Golob. Yep, check her out, by the way. Check out her website. It's super, super useful. I really, really like your videos, Julie. It's at juliegolob.com, JuliGolob.com. We were just talking about how much you practice, and one of the most important things that you were saying that gun owners need is a comfort level with their firearms, which really just comes from good old-fashioned roll-up-your-sleeves training. And I can't tell you how much I agree. I years ago went to a 4-day shotgun class, and I remember going into it thinking, what am I going to learn for 4 days about a shotgun? This seems a little ridiculous. And walked out, first off, not knowing what I didn't know. And then after the shotgun class, after the 4-day shotgun class, picking up my shotgun, and it felt completely and totally different. It was like putting on a glove. The shotgun fit. It wasn't this big cold chunk of metal anymore. It was an actual tool I was familiar with. So I really appreciate that advice, Julie. I think it's extremely useful.
No, it's like immersion therapy, right? It's exactly as you said. You don't know what you don't know. And when you can spend that much time training with somebody who's very, very knowledgeable, it opens up the world to you.
So so you're a competitive shooter. It's fun, right? Shooting's extremely fun. I think a lot of people look at it as a sport or a hobby. It's also a very practical thing. It's a very empowering thing. I mean, there are a ton of ways to describe shooting. There are a ton of reasons people get into shooting. When you turn it into a career, when it becomes a competitive career, and that you've dedicated your life to, what happens to the fun aspect? Are there days it's grueling, or is it still fun every single time, or are there things that you do to make it fun?
So it's funny. When I was in the military, I certainly got burnt out on competing. There was a lot of pressure, and especially when it's coming from above, and your leaders are saying you got to win all the time. But now, as a civilian, especially. I am driven. When I go to the range, it's my office, it's my work zone, and I need to get things done. The fun comes in when you hit that goal that you've been working for, or you have that aha moment in your training, like everything's coming together, or you stand on a podium, and it makes it all worth it. So, in the beginning, when you're just casual, having fun, meeting up with your buddies for a monthly match, it is a total blast. The camaraderie is there. And the camaraderie is there even at the high level. But when you're at that point, when you have very specific goals to win a national world title, the fun factor is different. The fun is in the winning, right? So it's all part of the journey.
So there are some very obvious goals like winning a national title, but what's an example of a more of a smaller, maybe a daily or a weekly goal? What's a goal that you've met where in your training or whatever, where you've thought, oh man, that's perfect. That's really satisfying.
Well, it's the little victories, right? So if I shoot a specific course of fire in action pistol, for example, that has a perfect score, and I manage to shoot all X's, that center black ring, on all of the shots at a certain yard line, I can go, yes, That's what I need to do. Right now I need to do it all the time. But it's those little things that you have on the range that you can celebrate. The other really neat thing about the shooting sports is that there are classifications. So you don't have to go in expecting to win a world title anytime soon. You can go in and compete with peers at your same level, which is really, really comforting and nice. So you can kind of make that gradual progression towards improving your skills and meeting tiny goals along the way so that you're constantly, one, having fun, and two, making that progress that you're looking for.
Do you still show up at little local matches that are open to anybody?
When I can. Being a mom makes it pretty challenging, but when I can, it sure is a lot of fun. Yeah.
I always liked hearing stories about Scottie Pippen showing up on a on a pickup game out in the middle of nowhere or whatever, that kind of thing. I always wondered if, when you show up, are they like, oh, come on, or is it, is it tough when you're?
No, it motivates them. It motivates them.
I would imagine
the big dog is here. We got to take her down. Let's go. Come on, guys.
It's funny because it's that the shooting sports are the one place that, you can have national and world champions show up and they're paced in targets and set in steel, just like everybody else. They're going to run the timer for you. They're just part of the squad, unlike, in golf or some other places where they're segregated, right? So it's pretty neat that you get to share that experience with everybody.
That's cool. Who's a competitor that you've gotten to know real well that you really like or keep in touch with?
Oh my gosh, so many. You've heard of Rob Latham, I'm sure.
Yeah.
We're buds. Jerry Michalik, all those guys. It's neat because I have obviously my friends and my life here at home normal, but when I'm on the road, I get to meet up with all my shooting buddies too. So it's really great.
That's cool.
So who challenges you when you're in a competition? Is there any one guy or girl that's in your competition that you just have to beat or just need to beat?
I never think about people. I think about my game. I feel like that's the major. If you are working at beating someone, then you're never going to reach your full potential yourself. So you just got to stay in your game, realize what your weaknesses are to work on them, but play to your strengths and just constantly push.
Yeah, whatever happens, happens.
And in your pistol maybe I should ask you, what pistol do you use? I don't want to assume.
I've shot 7 different divisions in practical shooting, so I've done everything from open race guns with red dots to revolvers. So most recently, I've competed a lot with an M&P 9mm from Smith & Wesson, and in the carry optics division, which means you can mount a Trijicon SRO on top of it. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. You got a rack gun, gray gun that you can grab out of your local dealer. It's just going to run it with a dot on top, which is fast and fun.
I was going to say M&P. I can tell by your, by your pictures, but I just wanted to make sure. So what's your focus going into the holidays? What's your focus going into 2021? What are you looking to accomplish, or what are you looking to grow as a part of, who you are and what you do?
Sure. This is kind of the down season. Normally, anyway, and again, COVID has changed everything for this year. Most of the competitions that I was signed up for had been canceled. And so we're kind of going into 2021, not really sure what's going to happen in a lot of ways. It's a world championship year for me, and so it's one of those things like, hopefully I'll make it to Australia, but I'm not sure if they're going to have the match right now. So it's a lot of it's up in the air. But another thing that I am really involved with is working with various different sponsors, and a project that I've been really focused on lately is Gun Smarts by Smith & Wesson, which is really kind of an introductory guide for new gun owners who are looking for information but may not be ready to sign up for that class just yet. And so it answers a lot of those questions that they have in quick, short-minute, 3 to 5 minute videos online, and it's been a lot of fun.
Wow, that's cool. So when is that expected to come out?
Oh, it's out already.
Oh, it is out.
It's Smith & Wesson Gun Smarts. You can Google their YouTube channel, and we have, I think, 20 videos or more up already. Everything from gun safety and children and guns to how to load a +1, because a lot of people don't know what that is. And, just different questions that a lot of new gun owners have. So we're kind of answering those in an easy, light going way kind of thing. And hopefully it's reaching a lot of people.
That's awesome. I really do like your content a lot. It's very plain spoken, very easy to understand, and they're questions that I think some people some people think that they're supposed to know, so they're afraid to ask. Like, you have a sighting in your hunting rifle, that sort of thing. Federal Ammunition introduces a new 16-28 gauge upland hunting loads. I mean, stuff like that, where you're doing reviews and you're answering questions that again, people need to know. I really appreciate your content a lot. Well, how do you come up with the ideas, or what? What gives you the ideas to write about?
A lot of times, a lot of the product-driven stuff is from sponsors, but social media is great. I mean, all you have to do is ask your people what they want to know, and they will tell you. And it gives you a lot of great ideas to touch on, whether it's in a blog post or in a video, and give them resources and answer their questions. I think one of the best things that's ever happened for gun owners is that we do have this. Granted, it's challenging at times, but we have this way to communicate with each other that we've never had before.
Yeah, I feel like you interact with the public a lot too, which I think is really cool.
I try.
Do you get recognized ever? Do you ever walk through an airport and get recognized or anything like that?
I have, and it's usually on the way to SHOT Show. But most of the time, normally not so much, but definitely on the way to SHOT Show.
How bummed out were you that SHOT Show got canceled?
It's been such a crazy year that nothing surprises me anymore. But I think that the industry is in a good place and they're focused, and the NSSF has done an incredible job on behalf of the industry. So it's sad that we won't get to all meet up and that sort of thing, but there'll still be fun stuff coming out, and it'll just challenge us, and challenges are good.
Yeah, I feel they're going to be back next year, and everything's going to be fine. They're already talking about rolling out the medication and everything. I think we all thought this was going to be over after November there, but we got to be on the downtick here. I mean, this can't last forever.
No.
Do you think it's going to change competitions or shooting or any part of the industry forever?
So, it's funny. Some shooting sports in particular have just gone on business as usual. Mm-hmm. Now, granted, there has been a reduced participation level for sure. They're not selling out, and, not everybody can travel, regardless. You're losing an international contingent when you're hosting events that they can't come over for. I mean, let's face it, a huge portion of the world can't travel right now. And so that's challenging, but I think we'll figure it out. I think one of the hardest parts for the shooting sports in general, because we're not like a big NFL or a basketball team that can go travel and be quarantined for 3 days or 4 days, whatever it be, we're not a team. So we're individuals having to work through these things. But I think we'll figure it out. We'll land on our feet, and but just nothing can keep shooters down. We always find a way to get out there and have some fun. I'm looking forward to some expansion of some maybe virtual competitions, because I think that would be really neat, and it's a realm we haven't really seen anybody touch their toes in. And so it would be neat for people to be able to, I can sign up and, shoot at my local range and submit this target and, go in for a virtual competition somehow. That would be neat.
Well, I really appreciate it, Julie. Everybody check out our website, Julie Golob, JulieGolob.com. You have some really fantastic content. I really appreciate the articles that you've written. I gotta say that's my second favorite Second Amendment content, next to the gentleman I'm here in the studio with, Joe Jamisi, who writes fantastic articles. But you're doing such a good job, and I really appreciate everything you're doing.